saying here, David Quindaning.
I know,
What a
that's nice.
beautiful... What a beautiful... My face, despite every attempt not to.
Is that your lucky number?
Basically, there's a number of stalls around that I hope you've had a chance to look at or continue to look at throughout the afternoon. The locals, we Leap are running a raffle over there, so I just want to thank the sponsors for that. There's Boddington Mitre 10, Trish Bowden, Robin Anderson and Anne Buchanan on that raffle, so thank you to those who donated to that. So please get over there, that will be drawn at 2 o'clock. Some beautiful Indigenous art over here, Carrick Maya, so please go and check that out, and some of the artwork also at the front of the stage here. So, without further ado, I'm going to invite Marcus Ugle onto the stage to do us a welcome to country.
Thank you. In the spirit of reconciliation, we the Noongar acknowledge the traditional custodians of the Wilman tribe of this area. We pay our respects to our elders past, present and future, and we come as one, as we come as many, and we come as family and friends. Today I'd just like to say a few words at how we became involved in this movement that we got today. It all started one day we're doing a survey with South32 in the dwelling up forest, and one of my nephews standing there, Troy Ugle, and he said, you got to pardon my English, but this is what he said: how are we going to fucking stop these people? Uncle, he said, how are we going to stop them? And I looked at him and I said, how are we going to stop them? Because everything we say, they just keep going. And then I got left there with a heavy heart. He went, I said, do you want to say any conditions on this thing? He said, no, whatever I say means nothing. And I said, righto. So I drove from there, come through here, went to Colin Couch's, get sheep of him. But just a little bit before we go there, my name's Mark Ugle, and I'm in 1963. We used to all stay around here. And myself, there's Roger Ugle over here, my sister Colleen. We all were kids growing up here. We used to go to walk 4 miles from Morgan's Mill to get on the bus, travel to Boddington School, go through that beautiful part of the forest up there that's getting destroyed right before our eyes today. So in that many years, you can see how far Alcoa, South32 and Newmont has destroyed I'm not talking about us Noongars now, our country, us black and white. And then when I get to Collins, I was telling Jill what was happening out at Gleneagle Forest, that what they wanted to do, 20 square miles of it, destroy from one highway to the next. And then she looked at me and she said, I think I got some people that might be interested to talk to you. And then she said, and the lady that's beating the drum over here, Mariana, was the first one. So I spoke to her, or she rang me and I rang her back later on, about 2 months later I think we finally made contact. And then she said, I got another lady you to talk to. So I went from there, and I caught up with Josie, the best vet in the Upper Great Southern. So we sat down and we had a talk at Williams, the capital of Western Australia, I call it. And then we went from there, started putting things together. But it was unbelievable to us that our own land council, I'd say now that they failed us badly and dismally. Because we look back and what the things that we come across how much, what do you call, the things that they've destroyed, that they weren't addressing, and everything. You know, we come, and then even our own sacred sites that we would find, then you sign the Section 18 and that site meant nothing. It was destroyed, taken away. We found a couple of scar trees around, and the anthros said to me, "Oh, can we cut that tree off and then get the mining company to preserve it?" I said, "Why do you want to cut it down?" And they said, "Oh, they could preserve it for you and put it somewhere else." I said, "That tree means nothing to us if you cut it down and take it away." I said, "The sacred site is right there where that tree is growing. Those artefacts belong there. That is the sacred site. Not picking it up and taking it 20, 30, 40 metres away. That means nothing over there. This is where our ancestors left it here today, or then for us today, to claim that as our sacred ground. But it's all been destroyed, and you can see what they've done to Marradong and Mount Saddleback. The meaning to those places for us Noongar people is great, not only from the Yugal side of the family, but all families that have connections to that area and this area. And then the ball started rolling. Talking to Josie and the rest of the group, we decided to take I said to Josie and the group, "We cannot do this as Noongar people, we cannot do this on our own, because they won't listen to us." I said, "We got to stand together. And if we stand together, then we may achieve something." I said, "We can't stand one in front of the other. No, we got to be together and join forces." So that's why we're here today, to stop South32 doing what they're doing to our country, and that is destroying it. Because to us as Noongar people, the bush tells us everything. It's got everything for us. It's got our food in there. It's got our medicine in there. And this has been going on for years and years. And it's got our healing in there. Because if we're feeling no good outside in the cities or in towns, we head out bush. And again, that's where we get our sense of belonging back, talk to our ancestors and move on. And that's exactly the same happens to you as Wajala people. When you had enough of the city, you will go out the bush or go somewhere and relax. So we're here today to stand to fight together. And we must bring down South32, Alcoa and Newmont. And we got to do it together. And I think this is the first time that they've been challenged. So if it is, each and every one of us standing here and sitting here today, is history going to be made. And we're all going to go on record to say, "Stop South32, taking our beautiful forest down." Thank you.
Just going to do a few little dances for you. This is Little Durham, up and coming and learning how to do their traditional dancing and also learning their culture as well. So we're going to do a spirit dance that comes out and looks after all the land, animals, plants, people, and brings good health and good luck to everybody. And then we're going to do the Nyambi, the foot tapping dance, celebration dance. If you feel like getting up and get the rhythm, you're more than welcome to join in.
much, everyone. I've been living here now down the Quindaning Road for this year 37 years, so I'm not quite a local yet, but I feel like I am really. I'm going to sing a song for you which is called One World, One Planet, and I wrote this song while we were fighting for the last of our karri forest. And this song actually won the Environmental Song of the Year for 2001, so for Australia. But this song is like, people were saying, well, you know, it's kind of a bit ahead of its time. But actually, that song, this song I'm going to sing you, it's forever, because it's telling the truth. It's telling us that we only have this, like we only have one forest. That forest, once it's gone, you can do a replanting, but it will never, ever, ever, ever be what it was. And we had the privilege of being down in that forest, in down around Walpole and all those areas, and it was so amazing, and nothing can ever, you know, like you can never get that back. And I sang this song for the Premier, Richard Court, in 2000, and I said to him, if you do not stop the logging, you will lose this election. Because what happened is someone said to me, Kelly, can you write a song for Giblet Block, or Giblet Block, whichever? And I said, of course. And I wrote this song called What Is Happening to Our Forests. And what we learnt very quickly was people don't listen. So it's not just, you know, any politicians who don't listen, people don't listen. Because when I sang that song, they'd say, oh, that's nice. And I'd say, but did you actually listen to the words? It's about our forest that's being destroyed. And they were like looking at me. And I realized we had to keep going. And that's what Rosemary said. We have to keep going. We have to keep going. And it's like an arrow. You shoot that arrow and you just go to the target. And you never give up. You never, ever, ever give up. And I know Winston Churchill's not popular anymore, but he did make a speech where he said, never, never, never give up. And it was his shortest speech, and then he sat down. But it's true. Never, never, never give up. And we saw with our own eyes what happens when you never give up. I went and sang the song I'm going to sing for you. I went and sang it for the Premier at the time. And as I said, I warned him. I said, if you don't listen, you will lose this election. And I sang him this song. He was, you know, surprisingly quite chuffed. But his listening was, we only have one body. He said, oh, my dad always used to say, we only have one body and that's all we've got. And he didn't listen to the fact that this song is about the forest. It's about the forest. It's about all of us. It's about the whole of humanity. And when I warned him, I knew he wasn't listening. And about 2 weeks later, he lost the election. And he left in disgrace. So it's just one of those things that when people do listen and they take action, that at that time, the Labor Party got on board with my song, What Is Happening to Our Forests, and they just took it and it went out. We went from 0% of the population caring about the forests to 89% of the population in Western Australia calling on the government to stop the logging of the forests. How did they find out about it? Yeah, they found out about it because we made a video clip, which we can do about what we're doing here. We can actually either do a new song or we can do a new video clip. But what happened was, because we had the video clip, the words came to life. So a woman rang me up who went all the way down to the forest, to Gardner Block, and she goes, oh, Kelly, I saw the most terrible devastation. I saw trees on the ground. They were so big that nobody could even cut them up. And she said, I thought, oh dear, how terrible. But on the bus, when I was coming back, and this is the message of this song, something happened to her because she saw the video and she felt this massive, her heart opened, and she had to do everything in her power to stop the logging of our forests. That was the key, that she opened her heart. She opened her heart, and we just, and we ended up with that process. It's too long a story for now, but we ended up saving around 1.5 million hectares of ancient Karri forest, which is still there now. So I'm just telling you that now to encourage every single person here, no matter who you think you are, no matter what you think, oh, what can I do? You can do something. And a beautiful man called Primus Ugal used to come and visit us all the time. Like, we lived down the road. We never knew when he was coming. We just loved him. And he was the guardian of Mount Saddleback. And sadly, he's passed away. And since he passed away, look what's happened to it. I said, when the South32 people were here, I said, they were telling us what a great job they've done. I said, what your mining company has done is an abomination. It is an abomination when you see Mount Saddleback now as compared to what it was. How could anybody come and have the audacity to come and tell this community that they've done a great job? It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. Alcoa, disgrace. These mining companies just should not be in this entire southern area. Maybe if there was to be mining, go somewhere where maybe nobody lives. But I tell you what, we live here. This is our community, and we are standing, and we must continue to stand until we win. So I'm going to sing this song, Thank You, and let us go out from here and write a letter. Another quick piece of information, which doesn't seem to be that quick, is that our government, you may not know it, is a corporation. Our state government and our federal government is a corporation. They're corporations. Corporations are legal fictions. So in reality, they do not exist. They have been created by humans. So we here, we are flesh and blood. We are actually people. And we have the power, as long as we work together, we have the power to stop this. And one of the things everyone needs to go away with, is what they're producing with the blasting is silica dust. Now, we are human beings and we have rights. And one of those rights is to breathe clean air. And silica dust is worse than asbestos. So we have a legal precedent. Julie Bishop was the actual lawyer. When I used to work as a lawyer years ago, she was the lawyer for the company that just dragged those cases out and out and out until most of the people died. It's not something I'm sure she's proud of, but I'm just going to say that because I'm so over politicians that lie and lie and lie and lie. They just lie. And there might be some that tell the truth. Come forth and join us. This song is called One World, One Planet. So many years ago, the earth was formed and out of the heavens the sky was born, and deep from the dust one day was made a human race, and birds and bees and flowers and trees and everything that we might need. Yeah, we've been given one world, only one tiny little planet. We've been given one world, one planet. And over all of these years there have been so many tears from all all of those birds and bees watching our insanity as we tear down the forests, we tear down the trees, and we leave all the oceans with whatever we please, and we mine all the mountains to find all the gold. How many times do we have to be told? Yeah, we've been given one world, only one world, only one tiny Quindaning. We've been given one world, one tiny Quindaning. Let's take this one life and do what we can to make a difference and take a stand for the forests, a stand for the trees, a stand for the oceans and the air we breathe, silica free. We've been given one world, one tiny planet. We've been given one world, one planet, one world, one Quindaning, one world, one ocean, one world, one forest, one world, one people, one only tiny little world. Thank you. And I really, really pray that you will be empowered to realize we fought for that forest for over 10 years. And everyone here has been part of, or is just coming into being part of this campaign. But it's actually a war, because it's not just for us, it's for our children and our children's children and our children's children's children. It's for the future. And I really would love everyone to go away with an action plan. It doesn't have to be a tiny one, it can be a massive one. But one letter, I remember seeing a woman from South Africa, and her son had been arrested illegally but never charged with anything. It was during the apartheid war. And thousands or hundreds of thousands of people wrote to the South African government and they let him out. So I'm just saying, even one letter or even a little group of people getting together and pray and also write letters. So thank you for being here today. Thank you to everyone who's organised this. Thank you to the Quindaning Hotel. Yay! And it's a pretty fabulous place for a rally like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Kelly, and I will reiterate what she said about action. Every one of us that's here knows that there's a lot of endangered animals and critically endangered, and we all say, oh, but, you know, a lot of people say we can't do anything, the money speaks louder than words. Well, actually, every one of us, if we just click a up thumb or a smiley face on a comment and don't do an action, I think we're equally as accountable. We know there are things we can do. We can click on a petition. We can do big or small, but do something and say something. Stand up and show up, every single one of us and all of our friends. So share that, please. So I'd like to invite Mariana on the stage. Mariana is one of our LEAP ladies, and she has got a bit of a talk to thank some people and to also just, she's been talking to some local Wodjula elders as well as we want their say as well. So she's going to share some of that now.
Thanks to Jeremy, the owner of this tavern, for allowing us to hire this venue. Almost a conflict of interest, really, for Jeremy, as South32 also uses this venue. So thank you for being so courageous, Jeremy, for standing up for us. Which brings me to our petition. I noticed as I was going around locally getting signatures for the petition against South32's massive footprint in Marradong country, that a lot of people were very tentative in signing. Now, as a community, we understand why. Because so many people, so many of us have bills to pay, mortgages to pay, families to feed, and we all need jobs. Unfortunately, South32 is one of the major employers. So when people came to sign the petitions, they were dubious. Now, please, we live in Australia, the land of the free. We have a right as individuals to go to work, to come back here in a rally, sign a petition, wear a t-shirt without fear of losing our jobs, without fear of someone else judging us. We live in freedom. I've spoken to a couple of locals, seniors or elders, and I have asked them. They are from the age group of 85 to 91. They have lived in Quindaning all of their married life, and I asked them what was the effect or what was their take on this huge footprint that South32 has imprinted in Marradong country. This is along the lines, this is their response. Our lives have been changed. How we choose to live here. Our environment, treasures of fauna, flora, community pride, fresh air, clean waters, abundance of our beautiful native forests that brought joy to the beholders. All this has been taken from us, and many of our generation and generations to come, without our consent. Now that's a key word, without our consent. Our control of our lifestyle has been taken away. This leaves us with health issues, feelings of despair, helplessness, deep, deep sadness, wondering, how did all this happen? When did what we say and feel become so unimportant to our government? Very sad, isn't it? And it's the emotional cost also that we have to take into account of our elders who have lived here all these years before us. We understand aluminium is an incredibly useful mineral for society, and one of its most appealing properties is that it is infinitely recyclable, with no loss of strength, and the recycling process takes 5% of the energy used to mine it. The mine pays 7 to 40 cents per tonne to our government in royalties. They can then instantly sell the bauxite offshore for about $95 per tonne, or when refined to aluminium for $510 per tonne. Australia refines no aluminium, so everything ends up going offshore. And then we purchase the aluminium back at over $3,000 a tonne. So we are effectively paying for our forest and our lifestyle to be destroyed. While destroying our environment, they also take away from us the choice of developing sustainable industries, so that when they leave, all of you who still work for those mines could have had another job that would lasted us forever, because our forests would be forever. Sustainable interests like hospitality, hiking, water sports, beekeeping, and above all, farming. So much precious farmland is being taken over for bauxite mining. So thank you everyone for coming here. Thank you.
It's been about 2.5 years since the original environmental review document came out that many of us made submissions against. Currently, South32's expansion process is with the appeals convener, who decides if the proposal needs further investigation by the EPA, and to advise the environmental minister. A few months ago, the EPA recommended the proposal to continue under strict conditions. We and another 130 appeals have been lodged against this decision, including one from South32 who thinks the conditions are too strict. LEAP and our Noongar friends are appealing against this decision on the grounds that the conditions are not strict enough and that the vital scientific research is missing from this proposal. How the EPA was able to assess this proposal is the biggest question, considering there was incomplete data in all the vital areas: the effects on the community, the water, the plants, the animals and revegetation, the dust and the environmental pollutants were all lacking vital data, and the EPA still saw it fit to go ahead and assess the proposal. I'm sorry. All of these areas lack data, and there is no knowledge on the cumulative impacts of all the effects on the Northern Jarrah Forest from all the use and the users over the past 60 years. Between the two mines, South32 and Alcoa, there are 1 million hectares within the mining lease, and between these two mines they use 20 billion litres of water a year, and nobody has looked at the cumulative impacts of these mining companies. And still, the EPA saw it fit to go ahead and recommend this proposal to go ahead under strict conditions. The appeals conveners were very engaging and were concerned about the process that has been happening out here, and I believe there will be further investigations to follow this. One of the biggest powers that we have is slowing them down. They are rapidly running out of ore, and we want the environmental minister and the environmental regulators to know that we are watching them and that we are watching the decisions that they are making very carefully. And they do need to make these decisions with the consideration of how this is affecting our community, and it is clear that there is no social licence remaining for this mining company where we live. So as a united front, we can stop South32 from any further mining expansions, and we can save this community and the forest and the animals that we all hold so dear to ourselves. So thank you all for coming, and as we continue to work further forward into the future, together we can actually stop this mine. As the strongest thing we have against them is this united people power that we have here today. So we will continue fighting until there are no more mines within that jarrah forest, and we will save everything out there, including our community. Thank you.
Thank you to Josie. And on that note, also a reminder that we do have a petition, either a hard copy or an online. So if you check out our stall or ask one of us, and what we're asking of the Legislative Council is basically holding South32 account. We're asking them to do the proper surveys before any expansion occurs, because it is a huge gap. There's a huge knowledge gap. So we are asking that must be done before they allow any expansion. So we're lucky to have Farron Winwood would like to have a few words. So I'll invite him up.
Thank you. Welcome here today. I'm up here just to bring you that me and Uncle Mark and cousin Sean Hayden. We went to the EPA not Friday, just went Friday before. we put our concerns in, talked about rivers, country, especially Salopback Hill. That means a lot to our people. I used to get told a lot of stories about these areas because my mother and old grannies used to go through on a horse and cart through here. Me and Uncle Mark and Sian, we're on the CAC, Cultural Advisory Committee. I share chair with Sian. In that, we get, South32, Alcoa, all them coming in, and we try and put up a big front. They don't just come in and think they're going to walk over us, wipe their feet and walk back out. We put up a big fight so they know we're the front line to it. From there, they think they've got a big muscle. They got it in power with the money and all this and government, but we know we've got you people out there with us too. As we fight for our kids, we fight for yours. Because we want something left for our little ones just as well as yours. Because our children today, we fight for them, not for us now. Because another 10, 20 years down, our babies are going to be at the age they start controlling. And by then, hopefully we got these people put out of work. Move along. We talked about rivers to them. We talked culture. When we got there, he said to me, he said, this ain't going to stop. We can listen to you, see what you've got to say, but you ain't going to stop it. And I thought to myself, you got big balls on you, mate, but I'm telling you, you picked the wrong people down this way. So, with all of yous, and like I said, we've seen this country, now we want to show what's left of it for our little ones and look after what is left. Thank you.
Next up on our speaking agenda is Jason from the WA Forest Alliance. So Jason's going to give us a rundown a bit more on the economic side of things and hopefully give us some good news on the way forward. Big call.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming today. Awesome turnout. My name's Jason Fowler. I'm an ecologist. I work for the WA Forest Alliance. Now, a lot of people ask me, we need to dig up this ore because it's aluminium, bauxite. And we all love aluminium. It's a brilliant metal. It's really, really good. I've got an aluminium fishing boat. I love it. It's light, strong, tough. So many good things about it. And I started thinking, well, is that really true? Do we need to dig up this bauxite? And I spent a lot of time up north. And I'll have to say that there's some huge deposits of bauxite up in Arnhem Land, up in a place called Gove or Nhulunbuy. And up there's an Aboriginal owned and run mining company that dig up their own bauxite from their own land. Now that bauxite is about 56% aluminium, and it's in really, really thick, deep layers. And if you go across to Cape York near Weipa, there's even bigger bauxite deposits. Now those deposits are about 60% aluminium, some of the highest grade deposits in the world. Those deposits are about 15 metres thick, minimum 10 metres, enormous deposits. And what that means is you clear a little bit of bush on the surface and you get a huge amount of bauxite out of a really high quality. Now let's have a look at the deposits here in these hills. This is the lowest grade bauxite in the world. A lot of it's 26% aluminium. At best it gets up to about 32% aluminium. And even worse, it's only 2 metres thick, maybe 3 metres at max. You've seen those mining pits down the road, they're all pretty shallow, they're not very deep. And the real clanger is that the most biodiverse temperate forest in the world sits right above them. So here we are doing maximum ecological damage for the minimum amount of bauxite of the lowest quality. Now surely that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll put it out there today that South32's operations here, Alcoa's operations right next door to them, this has got to be one of the worst mining operations in Western Australia ever. Shocking. The mining industry should be bloody well embarrassed by what South32 and Alcoa are doing. Absolutely embarrassed. It's a shame on the mining industry. A lot of other mining companies are trying to do really good things, and you've got these two companies here running amok in our forests. It's not on. Anyway, I'll move on. Let's talk a bit about money. South32 is a $15 billion company. That's not small change, you know. And what do they give to this local community here at Boddington, Quindaning? Last financial year, they gave them $1.7 million to buy a new water truck for fighting fires and a few footy jumpers for the footy team. That's it. Now let's have a look at how much money they gave back to their shareholders last year. Last year, they returned $1.3 billion to their shareholders. Just to spell it out for you, that's $1,300 million went back to their shareholders. Now let's have a look at their shareholders. I looked it up this morning, the top 10 shareholders of South32. Who are they? Who gets this money? And guess what? They're all investment firms from New York and Wall Street. It's the Americans that are getting rich out of this, not us. We're just getting the pocket change, just the little scraps thrown out the sides. That's appalling. It's appalling behaviour because South32 are based in Perth. They call themselves a Western Australian company. So why aren't they funneling all their money back into Western Australia instead of sending it all offshore? It's embarrassing, really, for Western Australia as a state. So they say to us, don't worry, we can rehabilitate this forest. Easily done. We're out there planting jarrah trees everywhere and lots of understory plants. It'll all grow back and you won't know the difference in 100 years' time. Because that's how long it takes to grow a jarrah tree. More than that, actually. Jarrah trees live up to 1,000 years old almost. Now, just last week, our very best scientists in Western Australia on botany and mine site rehabilitation published an enormous new paper. And it's absolutely scathing, without a doubt, that you cannot rehabilitate a jarrah forest because it is so biodiverse and so unique. And the other thing is the actual functional biology of a jarrah tree. It's evolved to grow up in bauxite. And bauxite is like a giant sponge. It holds all the moisture. It allows the tree to grow really, really big. You take the bauxite away, you simply cannot grow a big jarrah tree like what stands there today. So it's actually impossible to rehabilitate it. We're going to be left with a lot of low, scrubby bush. It won't be a jarrah forest. Now, the whole premise of the minister approving these mining operations is based on the fact that we can grow the jarrah forest back. So it's based on a lie. And now the government have this paper in their hands and they must do something about it. So what do we do about it? I don't want to sit here and whinge all day. So we had as Josie mentioned earlier, the EPA had a good hard look at this proposal to do a mining expansion. The expansion area is massive. It's another 120 square kilometres of this area. Farmlands near us, forest further north, across the Albany Highway, even up across the Brookton Highway. Huge areas of forest set to be bulldozed for bauxite mining. Now in that process, we managed to get over 600 submissions to challenge that EPA assessment. The EPA came back with their report and they reluctantly approved it, I must say, with a huge list of conditions on how the company must offset all the damage they're doing. Now we've actually appealed that because a lot of the offsets that they've written down are very, very dubious and highly likely not to actually result in anything. They actually want to rehabilitate thousands of hectares of farmland back to jarrah forest. But this farmland here is incredibly productive. We don't want it taken away, we want it kept really healthy because it grows our food. When you look at a mining proposal, the key thing on the mitigation hierarchy is avoidance. That's the first thing you should do, is try and avoid the damage. And they've completely ignored that step and gone further down the list and gone to offsets. That's an absolute tragedy. So we appealed that report from the EPA. We got over 130 appeals sent in. It costs you money to appeal, so that is a challenge, and that is also going up. Now the appeals convener, he's met with a lot of us. They have, I should say, and they've heard all our concerns, and they're very, very conflicted by this. They are writing a report. In December, they hand that report to the Environment Minister, and he has to look at it, and he has to weigh it up. And he has to weigh up the economic benefits versus the environmental destruction that it causes. So we have another 2 months to really flood the Environment Minister's email box full of letters saying you cannot approve this project. And I just want to point out, they've told me that the most powerful way to get the minister's attention is actually to get out a bit of paper and handwrite a letter and put it in an envelope, do it the old-fashioned way and send it to him. Because it shows you've taken a lot of care and time to get your message to the minister. So I always encourage people to write your own letters and send them to the minister. We can provide you with all the details you need. If you don't have time for that, which a lot of people don't, please go onto LEAP or the Forest Alliance website, and we have pre-filled letters there that you can sign and send off yourself. Or we can help you write your own letters with details. We have an extensive submission that we provided to the EPA and the appeals convener about all the problems with this mining proposal. So you can look at that, we'll happily give it to you, and you can draw information from that to formulate your own letter. So there's a lot of work to do in the next 2 months. If we can delay the minister's decision by some time, it's going to be extremely difficult for South32 to continue operating. Because from what I'm hearing, from what they've been saying, this is a marginal operation. Because the ore is so crap, it's such low grade. They've got a longest conveyor belt in the world, I think it is, down to Collie. It's over 50 k's long. It costs a lot of money to run those kinds of things. So it's looking like this is a very, very on-edge kind of mining operation. It's doing an enormous amount of environmental destruction. It's using enormous amounts of water. The Worsley refinery alone uses 13 billion litres of water a year. And here we are in almost drought-like conditions in the previous year. Our rivers are going dry, our dams are drying up, our creeks have stopped flowing, and yet these guys can continue taking more water than most country towns use. Enormous volumes. The local people here are getting smothered in dust. It's just unacceptable what's going on. So anyway, I implore you all, please get active in the next 2 months, get your friends to write letters, get everyone you can around you to write letters. We need to make sure the Environment Minister hears our concerns loud and clear. Media. And please be aware, there's lots of media attention looking at us today. We have the ABC here. I know that all the commercial TV stations are eagerly awaiting footage from this rally to put tonight on TV news. Lots of journalists are looking at it, so please make a big noise later on. Let's make sure that they all hear us well and truly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Jason. And yeah, just to reiterate again what Jason was saying with the offsets, the same goes for the rehabilitation. That's another one that the mines always go on about. We know it's never going to be a real forest anyway, plus most of it's not protected. They're clearing it now. They can go back through it. Not one piece of rehabilitation has ever been released back from South32. So how do we know what it's going to be like? So I'd like to ask Roger Ugle to come up and have a few words next.
Hi everyone, how you going? It's good to see a good turnout for the first rally here. Marradong, Wilman, Quindaning. Beautiful spot. I'm just going to share some things, history, about myself, my family, my connection to this country. The town hall, my grandfather used to live there. My uncles, aunties, all my cousins. When I was a kid, when I was living in Williams, we used to get dropped off at the town hall and walk in to that camp area. And you see all of them, all my ancestors come across here to the tavern. And saying that, the river down here now, that used to hold a lot of water. There used to be water there all year round. Now look, there's nothing. You could walk across there without getting your ankles wet. And in saying that, up the road, Mokine, the river system there. My little auntie used to walk us up to the bush, go and collect turtle eggs, take back home, cook them in the ashes. Nothing there. This is what this company is doing, destroying our country, all of us here. Without yous, us Noongar people can't do this alone, like has been said before. And I myself was devastated when I seen what they were doing up here. I thought, hang on, Why are they getting away with this? What can we do? And like everyone before us who spoke here today said, we can't do it alone. We have to be united on this. This is for our future, for our generations, your generations. Let's get this done. Stop South32. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Nothing to reiterate there. We have our last speaker for the day, which is Paddy Cullen from the Black Cockatoos. Ah, here he is. And then we're going to be asking Kelly to do a song while we get set up to do a group photo across over here. So please be ready to join us for a bit of a protest at the end of the speeches. But for now, here's Paddy.
Thanks so much, Veronica. Thanks to Lee. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're on the Marradong country and thank all the people, all the traditional owners who have spoken today, who have come out today. We're standing in solidarity with you. So thank you so much for looking after this country for thousands and thousands of years. And we want to take that legacy forward. So a big hand for all the Oogles and everybody else that's been here. It's absolutely awesome. And to Leap and all the fantastic groups. Now, people tell me that politicians aren't interested in facts, but they're interested in how you feel. So we've got to get that message off about how we feel. So I'm going to ask you how you feel about the Jarrah forest, and I've sort of got an answer for you here, just to remind you. We've been doing workshops with kids. There's lots of these hearts out there. The kids have been putting their heart in because they love that forest and they want to save the forest. So, who loves clean water? Who loves clean air? Who loves a decent climate? Okay, we're going to try that and we're going to say, we love Jarrah next time. Who loves 23 million people coming to our national parks in WA every year? Who loves numbats? Who loves the Quindaning orchid? Who loves the quokka? Yeah, we all love Jarrah, and that's why we're going to save this Jarrah today. We are going to save this forest. Individually, we're strong. Together, we are unstoppable. We are going to save it. We have a history of saving things. We have a history of saving the forest. We stopped industrial logging on forests a few years ago, and now we're going to stop the mining of the forest too. We can do it, and we will do it. I'm doing a lot of work with black cockatoos, and at the moment, they're not doing well. They're not doing well. We've cleared more than 92% of the area where they live. It's cleared or it's degraded. And this is something that's happened in the past, and it's something that's ongoing now. And on top of this, we've had a terrible dry-off in the last year. It's been the hottest, it's been the driest summer we've ever experienced. And now a lot of the forest just is not producing the seed they need. The woodlands are not producing the seed they need. And we are seeing a starvation event of the black cockatoos. We cannot let this happen. The forest is needed to save our climate, so we must protect it for that. So by saving the black cockatoos, we are also saving ourselves, and we have to get that message out loud and clear to South32 and to the government. So I'm gonna finish now, and I'm going to ask you to say something else. I'm going to say a name, and this is what you have to say in reply. This was done by a 7-year-old girl yesterday. This came out of her head, and this is what she wants. And the reason we need to do this is, yes, we need to do it for culture. Yes, we need to do it for water. Yes, we need to do it for climate. Yes, we need to do it for all the wildlife. But more than ever, we need to do it for future generations. If we want our children to live in a safe climate, we need to protect these forests. So I just want to say too that once you've been here, you've already taken something away from those forests. Every time you breathe in, you've taken some oxygen from those forests. Every time you breathe out, you've given some carbon dioxide that goes into those forests. You are now united with those forests, and those forests are now united with us. And we rely on those forests, and those forests rely on us. So I'm going to say a few words. Premier Cook, South32, Minister Reese Whitby. Okay, we are going to go out now and have our photo taken. There's some wonderful, wonderful artwork. A lot of it has been made by children yesterday. Please go over and take it. I want to take photos and show them that their work is being used, is being loved, and the message that they're giving is getting across. Those kids have put their heart into this. We've all got our heart into saving this place, and together we can save it. Thank you so much.
No, that's perfect. Thank you, Patty. What a great ending. I'm going to throw it over to Kelly. Remind everyone also, come and have a photo with us, but also the raffle tickets. Keep buying raffle tickets, and that will be drawn up here at 2 o'clock. And there's some gorgeous stalls and the art over here, so don't forget to have a look at that. But pass over to Kelly.
Have you ever stopped to listen to the silence of the air? The beauty and the melody that the bush would like to share. The wind that sings a pretty song, telling us it won't be long before the time will come. Well, if we don't stop this way of living, well, we are taking without giving. One day there will be silence. One day there will be silence in the forest. One day there will be silence in the bush. One day there will be silence.